Okay, so you want to own a ski resort. Buy a mountain, build some lifts, wait for snow, charge people to slide down it. Simple enough. The North American ski industry pulls in over $3 billion a year in lift ticket revenue alone, and destination resorts routinely sell out entire winters in advance. Surely a mountain full of paying customers is close to a guaranteed business. It isn't, not even close. Ski resorts are one of the most capital-intensive, weather-dependent businesses in America, and the mountain itself is often the least profitable part of the operation. Let's start with the number that explains everything about this industry. A single top-of-the-line high-speed detachable chairlift costs $3 to $6 million to install, and a mid-size resort needs 8 to 15 lifts to move skiers efficiently across the mountain. That means lift infrastructure alone can represent $30 to $70 million in fixed capital before a single lift ticket is scanned. And unlike almost any other piece of infrastructure, a chairlift generates zero revenue for roughly 8 months of the year while sitting exposed to snow, wind, and ice, requiring constant maintenance regardless of season. Here's the part almost nobody thinks about before they buy the land. Snowmaking is not a backup plan anymore, it's the backbone of the entire business. A comprehensive snowmaking system for a mid-size resort can cost $20 to $40 million to install, covering pipes, pumps, compressors, and thousands of snow guns spread across the mountain. Running that system burns through massive amounts of water and electricity. A single resort can use anywhere from 100 to 300 million gallons of water per season and rack up electricity costs of $2 to $5 million just to keep the snow guns running through a single winter. Without it, a warm week in December can wipe out a resort's entire opening timeline. So before a single skier buys a lift ticket, you're already carrying enormous fixed costs. First, there's the land and base area. Resorts typically need thousands of acres of skiable terrain, and building out a base village with lodges, rental shops, and parking can cost tens of millions more. Then there's grooming equipment. A single snowcat groomer costs $300,000 to $500,000, and a resort needs a fleet of 10 to 20 of them running every single night to keep trails skiable, representing another $3 to $10 million in equipment alone. Then there's staffing, and this is where ski resorts differ from almost any other seasonal business. A major resort can employ 1,500 to 3,000 seasonal workers, ski patrol, lift operators, instructors, and food service staff, most of them working just 4 to 5 months a year, which means the resort has to recruit, train, and house an entirely new workforce every single winter. Total seasonal payroll for a large resort can run $30 to $60 million, concentrated almost entirely into one short window of the year. Now here's the part that explains why the mountain itself is rarely the real profit center. Lift ticket revenue at many resorts covers barely enough to fund lift operations, grooming, and ski patrol. The real financial engine sits in real estate and ancillary spending. A slopeside condo can sell for $1 to $5 million depending on the resort's prestige, and developers routinely make more from a single real estate phase than an entire season of lift tickets. On the mountain itself, food and beverage sales inside lodges can carry 70% margins, ski and snowboard rental shops generate near pure profit on equipment that's already been paid off, and season pass programs, which can run $500 to $2,500 per person, lock in guaranteed revenue months before a single snowflake falls, regardless of how the actual season performs. Here's the counterintuitive piece. You'd think a bigger mountain with more terrain would automatically mean more profit. In reality, the resorts making the most money are often the ones that figured out how to sell the same guest more things beyond the lift ticket: lodging, dining, retail, lessons, and childcare, rather than simply expanding terrain, because terrain expansion means dramatically higher fixed costs, more lifts, more snowmaking, more patrol coverage, for a customer base that can only ski so many runs in a single day regardless of how much terrain exists. But this business carries a structural risk that almost no other industry faces quite the same way: the weather itself. In the winter of 2011 to 2012, an unusually warm, low-snow season across the northeastern and western United States caused ski visits to drop by more than 15% nationally compared to the previous year, and several smaller resorts that couldn't afford adequate snowmaking capacity lost so much revenue that some closed permanently within a few seasons. Climate researchers have projected that rising average temperatures could shorten reliable ski seasons at lower elevation resorts by several weeks within the coming decades, a slow-moving risk that fundamentally threatens resorts that can't afford to keep investing in snowmaking technology to compensate. So let's do the actual math on why investors keep buying and expanding these resorts anyway. A mid-size resort might generate $80 to $120 million in total annual revenue once you combine lift tickets, food and beverage, retail, and lodging. Against that, operating costs, seasonal payroll, snowmaking energy, lift maintenance, and insurance can run $60 to $90 million a year. Net operating profit for a well-run resort can land anywhere from $15 to $30 million annually, which sounds solid until you factor in the ongoing capital reinvestment required just to stay competitive, new lifts, upgraded snowmaking, lodge renovations, that major resorts budget tens of millions of dollars toward every single year just to maintain their position against competitors. The real money, though, increasingly comes from consolidation. Large resort operators have spent the last 2 decades buying up individual mountains and rolling them into multi-resort season pass networks, spreading fixed costs like corporate marketing and centralized snowmaking research across dozens of properties while selling a single pass that guarantees revenue from guests months before winter even begins. That structural shift, from single mountains competing independently to giant networks selling one pass across dozens of resorts, is the entire story of how this brutally capital-intensive, weather-dependent business has managed to keep growing. You didn't buy a ski resort to make money from lift tickets. You bought a real estate and hospitality business that happens to need snow as a backdrop, and the mountain itself is simply the most expensive marketing asset the entire operation is built around.